let's be real here. You're not mad because this person hurt your feelings or the situation didn't produce the outcome that you hoped for. You're mad because you've been disempowered. And the quicker you realize that, the quicker you'll notice when you are being disempowering to yourself or when situations are disempowering you. I was thinking about this because if you've all been watching Love Island, then you know that Alandria was kind of like in chaser mode with Taylor and how he kind of did her later on and then kind of left her out to dry type thing. And to me, it wasn't even the fact that he chose Clark over her. It was the fact that she disempowered herself in the process. When we make people too special, more special than they truly are, when we give them these characteristics that their actions don't back up, then that's when we've already started putting ourselves in a disempowered state. Girl, who's talking, me or you? Anyway, don't focus on that. But she was already disempowering herself in the process by trying to prove herself, trying to prove her value, trying to prove that she's wifey material, that she is the better catch, when it wasn't even about being the better catch. It was about being attracted physically, mentally, emotionally to the other person. I also believe that there's, and not saying that this is the case with her, but there's a deeper self-worth wound when you are trying to prove your value to someone and prove that you're wifey material, prove that you're worthy of being committed to, proving that you're deserving of their love or of anyone's love. That's the second that you disempower yourself, when you start putting love outside of yourself, when you start looking to other people for love, for validation, to confirm the value that you already know deep down inside, but it's like you have to have someone else confirm that value for you in order for it to be true, in order for it to be real. Affirmation is real. If you tell yourself consistently that you're deserving, that you're worthy, that, you know, all of these positive, uplifting things about yourself, then your reality is going to start to reflect that, and you will start to look less outside of you for that validation and start to validate yourself even more when it comes down to those things. We get so upset when people don't live up to the characteristics and the person that we created in our minds, when that wasn't them to begin with. They were never considerate. They were never compassionate. They were never kind. They were never giving. You put that onto them and got mad when their actions didn't reflect that. But if we look at the bigger picture and we focus more so on who a person is versus who we want them to be or what role we want them to play in our lives, then it'll be easier to weed out the bad apples. It'll be easier to truly see someone and who they truly are, and leaving them where they have you messed up, or leaving them where you felt like you were disempowered or undervalued in that situation or in that relationship. It's easier to use your discernment when you don't place your value outside of yourself, or when you don't expect for others to validate your value, if you get what I mean. So the whole point in this video is, don't disempower yourself in the name of love. Don't disempower yourself to show your value or for other people to see your value, because they're either going to see it or they're not. And whether they see it or not does not reflect back to you. But what it does reflect back to you is how much you still need to validate yourself, how much you still need to realize your own value. People only see what you allow them to see. If you allow them to see someone who needs validation, who needs you to tell me and constantly affirm me that these things that I think in my head, but I don't truly feel them, but if someone else says it and if someone else sees it, it has to be true. But why can't it just be true? Why can't you just know that this is who I am, and there's no one that can tell me any different? Because people can wake up and feel differently about you. People can wake up and say, oh, well, I actually don't think that they're all that cute anymore, or, oh, I don't think that they're cute with this hairstyle, or I don't think that they're actually that considerate, or I don't think that they're actually that kind, because that you may have done something that they didn't like, that rubbed them the wrong way. But you, every day, you can feel beautiful. You can say that you're beautiful. You can say and use your actions to reflect your compassion, your consideration, your value. But if you're placing all of that into someone else's hands, they can easily fumble it. They can easily drop it, and now you're a cracked egg on the sidewalk, looking crazy. But you're gonna hold your egg with care. You know, like when you go to the grocery store and you want your eggs bagged separately, or you bag your eggs and your bread together, because you know the value of those things, and you know that if you're not careful, they can break, they can get smushed. They're the most delicate items that we have in the kitchen, basically, the glass items. You know how to treat those items with care. Why can't you treat yourself with the same amount of care? Why do you disempower yourself when it comes down to love? Why do you disempower yourself when it comes down to other people seeing your value, other people knowing who you are? Why do you want other people to define who you are instead of you defining that for yourself and showing that? And there's nothing that no one else could ever say or do or feel or anything, as long as you know who you are, as long as you empower yourself. Now, it took a long time for me to get here, because, you know, I don't feel like we're taught enough how to empower ourselves. I think that we do look too much outside of ourselves for validation, to the point where it was a ripple effect of all of the things that we, like, starting with school, looking for validation. Like, our grades our grades validated us. If we didn't make good grades, that was a reflection of how smart we were. If we weren't popular in school, that was a reflection of how much everybody liked us. If we didn't wear nice clothes, that was a reflection of how poor or how rich your family was and how people treated you. And I think that we get too caught up in that aspect of things, that we kind of lose the essence of who we truly are, because we're too busy looking for validation. We're too busy needing validation from other people, from other things, to validate the things that we already know deep down inside. Just because I made a C on a test does not invalidate my intelligence. I may not be strong in that subject, but that doesn't invalidate the fact that I'm still smart, you know? Like, someone might not think you're very attractive. Then there's another person who might think that you are extremely attractive. But just because that one person said that you weren't, are you going to let that validate you? Are you going to let that validate you? Or are you going to validate yourself and go where you're validated? And the word for this whole video is validation, in case you haven't noticed. But are you going to go where you're loved? Are you going to go where you're chosen? Are you going to go where you feel empowered? Or are you going to continue to try to prove yourself over here that, yes, I am these things. Yes, I am these things. But that person just still doesn't see that. Are you going to go over here where you're still not chosen? Are you going to go over here where you're still not being affirmed? Are you going to go over here where you still have to prove yourself and prove that you are these things? Or are you going to go over here where someone already sees those things and you already know that about yourself? And I think that's why a lot of people struggle with love, and struggle with people actually, and struggle with going with the option that actually likes you, versus going where you feel like you have to chase and prove and all the things that are outside of yourself. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, you have to pay attention to your patterns. Pay attention to when you start to chase. Pay attention to when you start to feel like you need someone else to validate you. Pay attention to when you feel insecure about yourself and you need someone else to tell you, no, that's not true. Instead of you telling yourself that that's not true, and not letting your intrusive thoughts win, and not letting the awful parts of your mind and your thoughts become you. you don't have to become those thoughts. You can become who you want to become. And if you feel like you're the latter, then that's who you are, unfortunately. But if you feel like you're one of those ones that I am worthy, I am deserving, I am loved, you're going to start to gravitate towards those situations, those people, those outcomes that fulfill that prophecy. But if you're not, you're still going to give your power away to those things that either have the power to disempower or empower you. So you have to choose. Notice your patterns. And also, if you, what was I about to say? Oh, really, it's all about you. So if you can notice the patterns within yourself, then you'll easily be able to notice the patterns of other people who are disempowering you. Also, second word of the video, empower, disempower, all of those things. If you get my drift and you understand what it is that I'm saying, go ahead and leave me a comment below of resonance. If you love what I have to say, go ahead and like this video and subscribe to the channel, because I think you're weird if you're just watching me and you're not subscribed. Because why don't you want these gems to just pop up on your timeline all the time? Join the cult, okay? Anyways, I pray that you guys receive this message well. I pray that you have the most amazing week ever, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye.